every details in the game is actually giving me immediate memories of my childhood, or like my home, which is still my home at which is at Pahang actually. Yeah, still reminds me of like how beautiful it is, like to have these harmonious activities outdoor, like with your friends, going around, cycling around and playing around, feel safe with your friends. And I think that's what missing a lot right now, and that's give me like a a memory to share with everybody, to say that, hey, look, this is how we were before. Hi, my name is Lalitha Krishnan. I'm a producer of the Upin Ipin Universe. Nasi lemak is actually my favorite food. I mean, it might sound cliche for Malaysian to say that, but I think that's the only food I actually will choose, like for morning, afternoon, dinner. Like even my dad always asks me, like, you having nasi lemak on dinner? I'm like, why not? So yeah, that's my favorite food. I won't say jump, but I maybe got pushed. When you have a siblings, you always will get dragged or pushed when you go for like these places like this. So yeah, I do. Yeah, so it was fun. Yeah, nothing harmful, guys. So it's fun. So I'm grew up from kampung. Like I'm from Pelda actually. So we did have like when I was growing up, there's like a lot of chickens, ducks. It was very nice kampung environment. Yes, definitely. As a I have been chased by chicken, been chased by duck. I still remember when I was small, like I always feel like oh, those brave girl, I want to go to my neighbor house to play. And then, and I was like, oh, the chicken is smaller than me, I can always pass them. But nope, and now I'm the one that running and they were chasing by them. So yeah, but that's a good old days. I think mostly like, if you wanted me to relate with the Upin Ipin universe, like how we see Upin Ipin with the friends going out, play the masa-masa and all that. So I think it's really bring back to my memories with my childhood neighbors, where we actually go, have a picnic. We call it picnic. So we'll be under the mango trees, sit there, put the mat, and and we actually do a fake masak-masak, but then we will bring actual food from home. So we do a play part, then after we play, then we eat a real food. So yeah, that's like one of the best memories. I'm happy that when I see the Upin Ipin game and they actually have similar to what I have experienced as a child, and that's one of the fun memories. The fact that it's actually like a animation that I have been watching since small, and and then it's like now like coming alive as a game, which is something that I don't think anyone has been, even if 5 years ago I probably didn't even think about it, and now like 5 years after I'm here working in that development. So what excited me the most is just how natural it is to bring the environment of Malaysia close to how real it is right now, right? So every details in the game is actually giving me immediate memories of my childhood, or like my home, which is still my home at which is at Pahang actually. Yeah, still reminds me of like how beautiful it is, like to have these harmonious activities outdoor, like with your friends, going around, cycling around and playing around, feel safe with your friends. And I think that's what missing a lot right now, and that's give me like a a memory to share with everybody, to say that hey, look, this is how we were before. I do like like a horror game, or like I have like different types of game modes that I always go through, and also different region that like some maybe Japanese culture or some Westerner culture that we're looking at. So when I see how we bring Upin Ipin Universe, I can say that it's really rich with the culture of what I'm familiar with on day to day, and now I'm seeing it in a big screen, or like I'm seeing it in a different lens. So yeah, we definitely can learn from each game, different culture. And now I'm just gonna add like a little bit extra. Is like for Upin Ipin is just special because it's the culture that I grew up with. 80% of the people can relate it for sure, because even though the environment, the culture not the same, but I think the core element of the activities that we're doing is actually still the same. It's probably just different location, different environment, but I feel like the togetherness of the childhood where you play with the friends is just similar. But I think it comes down to now people more like indoor compared to outdoor, and I think this will show the world that how the outdoor activities that you can do, and how you can actually let go your child and be friends, and how they can actually have the social life outside of the norm that we have right now. Yeah. So yeah, other than that, I think what they can learn or see is that every single values that we're bringing in this game, respect the elders, help the elders, and that's something that I don't think we advertise much, and I think people need to know these values. It's always there in any culture. It's just now that we are bringing in too close in a visual to teach the kids to see that, hey, when your elder need help, you can help, and it's fun to help the elder people. You don't need to feel being forced to do that. Yeah, so I think this is like little elements that will connects with the parents, connects with the audience when they sees it. So having the diverse team is actually an advantage for us to actually build the game together, because we got to learn a lot of other people's culture while we building this, and we also got to hear a lot of stories about why this is good to have in the game, and why we want to show this to people in a game. And yeah, I feel this is a very great advantage to have diverse people to be part of this game and part of this process. And also, like I mentioned earlier as well, it's a values that bring everyone together, and that's how we are. It doesn't differentiate us, like just because you're coming in from different places, you might miss out or you might not know. But I think whatever we bringing in the game is although rich with the Malaysian culture, but it's also rich with a lot of values that connects everyone. I think the core challenges that we can look at is probably first, how do you want to transform this into the game? That's the first main thing. And when you pass through, we already have some ideas, and that what you want to create. The next challenges comes in is how do you want to make people still love them as how they love them in the series, and how we want to bring that feel in a game. But you're definitely not going to be as close as how in an animation series, and this is going to be close to their house, where they can control the characters. So it will be a little bit different on how they actually experience it by watching, and now they themselves playing as the character. So how we overcome the challenges, so how do we see this is this is where the open world idea comes in, where you actually give more freedom to the players to actually play as Upin and Ipin, and also to interact with the world as how they would as a child, or as how they want Upin Ipin to be. As a fan, you want to hey, all this while I'm just watching them, now I'm I can have them ride the bike, catching a bugs and all that, and play as them. You just change the feel to your very individual preference at this point. You're not being controlled by certain emotion. Of course, you have a narrative that you have to follow, but it's still under your control, where you are free to do any activities at any times. Yeah, so we want to give a very seamless experience to everyone, and open world actually the opportunity for people to explore the world of Upin Ipin. And we say seamless, and we want to how seamless it can be for players to actually choose to be the Upin Ipin when they're playing that. And I think the kids will hate to have like a rules all the time, like they will try to break the rules. Now we are saying that you have all the choice what you want to do. Explore it, you can explore. If you want like a story, you can play the story. If you want to like, just go around randomly meet a friend, you also can do that. So I think it's more like giving the players opportunity to create their own directions on how they can play and how they want to see themselves in an Upin Ipin world. I would say it's up to them to find out because, of course, as a producer, we have done a lot of play testing. So, I have seen that some people play differently than how I would play, so I think it's just like a play with an open mind and always go with the mindset of like, you want to explore. It's an open world. You can go anywhere that you want to go. And also when you actually like wants to have like something, I want to take a break, I want to do something, then that's where the quest is there that you can actually do. And also if you are someone that very story oriented, there is a story in the game as well that you can explore. So there's a lot of elements that actually catered for many types of people. But I'm pretty sure like everyone have their own way of to play, and that's how the open world is like giving you the freedom of to choose what you want to do, when you want to do, and what you want to do. If you are Upin Ipin fan, I want you to go and check every details of the house or like playground or like going around. Just go around the kampung durian hunto and see, feel it, and let us know how do you feel. And for those the first timers that just want to get to know the world just want to try the game, you can see how this is one part of Malaysia, like in one certain part of Malaysia that you can experience if you haven't been traveled to Malaysia before. And this will be a good starter package for you to see how Malaysia look like or what kind of food Malaysia has. Go with an open mind and just feel that you are the one traveling in that story and feel that you are the one exploring the jungle or exploring the environment of the kampung durian runtuh. There's a lot of collaborations between the IP holder for sure, that we have to go through processes where like, we have a brainstorm, we have a great ideas, and we have to sit with the stakeholders, to go through the culture element, creative direction, making sure that, we do exactly as how or maybe close to how the IP is, and because we really strive that we want to bring that element for real. And also like our partners are really great in working together. So we have been like collaborate a lot of stuff from the beginning, pre-production, production, and until the finishing line right now. And we always have a moment where we work as a team, and that's how we can pull this off. I mean, I've been playing this game like non-stop for now, from the start of the game. The only thing that I never miss to play is masak-masak. So I always go and I always try. I will try in a different places as well, like whenever I can, to do the masak-masak. And yeah, that's been something that very most favorite at the moment. Yeah, I think it's just the cuteness of how they actually like do the cook, and you actually interact, that you like there is a part where you will be like tapping, like making sure the timer doesn't run. It feel like a little bit competitive at the same time. Also feel like you're cooking your own known dish, that the dish that you like, for example like a nasi lemak or like a onde, and all those stuff is like when seeing it in the element, is like one, just the people that cooking there is cute and two, the activities is giving you some competitiveness feeling, like you feel like I need to finish it before the time runs out, give you like the rushness that you have to do it. Yeah, so I feel like it's more obvious for me to just like, I want to get a good ranking, I do not want to be a dishwasher so I need to get a perfect chef. So yeah, I think I've been the one that been constantly complaining about how certain camera angle at certain location that you have to fix when you do the quest. Like sometimes I go to my dev, like I complain, I cannot move, I cannot see, or like, hey, it's giving me headache to move this, and can we do something about it? It's one of those things that are very challenging for open world when you actually have a very wide area and you have like a different types of location that you have to go and explore, and different types of movement that you have to do as a player. But eventually it comes to a point where it gets better as the time goes. And yeah, I think camera challenges. And the other thing is, it's maybe funny thing, but it's like the RC car. It's just, I think it's a user problem. Yeah, so for me it's like to get the RC car go and win is a bit challenging. I think it's just personal stuff, but I saw a lot of people enjoying it, but for me it was a bit challenging. Critter catching, the critter catching is like of course, because of the game, we have like a specific location, specific places, and how you want to catch the bugs, right? But when I grew up in my kampung, it's like just right in front of my house. It's like there is a drain. We call it longkang. Like you have like all these grasshoppers and all the stuff. You do the same catching, like how you use the net and everything. You do all that, but seeing it in the game, it's just like, it's just for a moment, it just make me think like I did that before. Like I maybe like if you ask me like 10 years ago, I don't even remember any of these elements. But as soon as I see this, I think that's what stuck me the most. Like, yeah, man, this is like my childhood, like running around catching the dragonfly and also getting the bait for the fish, like when you want to do the fishing, like that's like something that give me some at the beginning stage, it gave me like goosebumps to see like wow, how I'm reliving it is. Yeah, it's interesting. I would say that challenging and interesting. And challenging is because that we are working with the creative people that have a lot of great ideas, but you're also chasing deadlines. So it's a very important for us to have a borderline of like knowing what to deliver, and also needs to consider what's the best for the game as well. There's often times like we have a delivery that we have deadlines, but we also knows the reality that maybe this is not good enough yet. So I think this where important for me to work with all the different disciplines to come together and have understanding of what we want to do. And working with the different disciplines also give me help me to understand how each processes works in making a game. So it's interesting because everyone have a different personalities, and everyone have a different contribution to the game. And engineers doing their magic and animators doing their magic, but it comes together as one. Challenging because it's more like everyone have a great ideas. So which ideas that you want to go for? Yeah. First thing first is I always keep in mind that whatever that comes to my radar to make a decision is it's all about the benefit for the game, and we have to think from the perspective of the game, why we need to do a certain things. If there is a decision needs to be made, of course I do have a critical stage point and also basics points. So basic decision mainly sometimes that sometimes it's not a good decision, but at least a decision that you need to make. And then we will see what are the pro and cons of making certain decisions, right? So to make it easier, if you want to just make a decision about colors, right? What's the colors that you need for the game. So if it's so hard, you just pick the color that we already have, and which we stay in the IP that we have and all that. But if it's not about color, but it's more about the shape, and then that's a different types of a decision making that you have to make. And then that's the point where you have to see whether this is something need escalation, or is it something that you just can make a decision based on scenarios that you have at the point. So if it's next escalation, that's why we have executive producer, creative director, that which is we quickly talk together and see what's the important for it. But as a person, like how do you relate to make this decision? I think first, don't get too emotional. When you're making certain decision, you shouldn't be like about your preference. It should be about the game preference and what's needed for the game. And you also need to make sure that you know what's the risks that you actually going to face with the decision that you're making. And 3, be responsible on informing the stakeholders or any parties that needs to know whatever decision that you're making, because full game development doesn't really give you a point like I make one decision like okay good. No, it's going to impact every aspect of the game. You're going to touch every single point that you do. When you are in doubt, that's where you have to have discussions. You never take a decision like in a rush moments. People will say that it's urgent, it's needed, but again, don't look into the emotional aspect of it, but always look in the perspective of like what's the best for the game, because that should come first. That will put the borderline on like how you want to make a decision clearly. A lot of movement like that happen actually, and I think how we move forward, I think firstly, as a team, when we make certain decisions, even as a producer or executive producer, any of us, when we make a decision, we always elaborate to the team why we're making certain decisions. We're making sure the team fully aware about why we're making choices of A, B, C, and also the consequences of A, B, C. When the moment is like we do not know if there is a ABC of it or like what's going to happen, I think there's always a moment of like you never try, you never know, right? So that's where we actually will take the risks and we say that okay, let's go ahead and do this, but we also will evaluate to see like how many times or how much time that we're spending for this, or how many days that we're gonna put a hard stop, or to see the results of the decision that we're making. Usually we will not go for like something very extreme. We will have a neutral in between, because we also need to know technologies is not like a manual that you can just read the book and you do it. There is a lot of things that you actually can explore, enhance, and you have like a skillful people around you that actually comes with the ideas. So when there is a moments of fall, like we think that it didn't work as how it should, main thing is like you don't put the pressure to your team saying that I told you so, or like put the pressure so oh I know this is not going to work out. I think there is no such point of like being negative when things that already happened, but it's more towards like how do you move forward after that. So main thing, your role as a producer is like you actually explain them that okay, this has happened, so let's take a step back and see what we can do next. Let's look into the option that we can do. But if there is a point where like it's really like something that not able to solve, or like you have to make a bigger decision making and all that, that's where you have to go through more processes. And of course every company will have a different types of process, but I think it's normal to actually like go back and have a discussion, refer back our own documents, what actually we want to achieve, and all the helps that we can get to achieve the things. So yeah, it's normal. I think tell that in Upin Ipin Universe we have make a lot of bad choices as well at the beginning, or even in the at the end stage or anything, any stages, it's always going to happen. But we know how to bounce back immediately and make sure that we work as a team. That's the key for that. Yeah, I think to get it like how it's polished it is right now, the turning point is like when we start working on the optimizations, when we actually look into the game is there, playable, but there's something always feel like unsettling, like something is still needs to be polished, something needs to be better at it, right? So the more play tests that we're doing, the more testing and working together with the team. And then the turning point, I will say that when we actually managed to pull it off, like the optimization in Nintendo Switch, especially when we look at it like how it is in a Switch before and after, all the works that the dev and the team, the directors are working together, it's amazing. I think it's like it's very hard to describe. I don't know how do you feel it, but you feel like damn, this is so good, this is it. we achieved it, Yeah, that's a moment. And also when you have a logic of the game that you have, when you say it's a seamless, you have opening too much of room for so many options, so many things that you have to consider, because like I said, player A will play differently, player B will play differently. Imagine that you have 10 people that working in a team, for example, and these 10 people have a different types of behavior, right? So when you realize that, actually you come to a point you actually giving this flexibility, and you're not locking down anyone, and which is the seamless experience that we want every player to have. I think that's give you another feeling of accomplishment, saying that, hey, we did it. Yeah, we didn't lock anyone to do something. So it's a flexible. Yeah. Oh, it's very easy. Super easy. We did it just like that. Well, we started with the mind of having the platform for Nintendo and PlayStation. I think most people knows that we announced that it's going to be in consoles, and there's no talk about PC, no talk about the EGS, or even I think PS5 wasn't even in consideration at the beginning. But that's how we see the game evolve, and how we really love how the IP turns into the game, and we see the opportunity for the platforms. When we make that call, that's okay, we're going to ship this in all platform. Yeah, there's a lot of nervousness of, can we pull this off? Can we do this? And wow, there's some platform that I didn't even know, some of the SDK we just upgrade at a point, oh, we're not prepared for that. So it was a bit ups and down at the beginning on how we want to get into the momentum. Of course, using some tools like Unreal Engine actually help us to organize our work better in a production side. And internally, the team, we do have some a split requirement on what we need for each platform. We have a pivot few times with the team, looking at priorities of okay, now let's plan what's our top priority, but it shouldn't be much changes for each platform. So good thing is that we don't really change anything in any platform, so the game is exactly the same, including Switch as well. That's what also another accomplishment that we feel a bit happy about. We don't need to cut anything or reduce anything. We actually give exactly as how in other platform. So since we already know that's the goal, and the only challenges is that how we make it work in the platforms. We have a lot of research. We have done a lot of studies. We reaching out some people to us also to get some advice, and we try and error a lot. So that's how we actually managing it. It's not easy, but I won't say that it's impossible. So when you have a milestone delivery, especially when you say that today is a submission for the platforms, right? Every platform have their own cutoff time that we have to comply, and it's not as easy like I say, hey, I done my work and submit. No, there's a lot of process for it. So I think the most busiest time will be to making sure that you actually have a good cutoff for the build that you want to pass it to QA, and then giving QA a good time to actually do the testing before it goes to the submission process. That will be the most busiest days ever, because I had to chase people to making sure that, hey, where we at? Hey, is it the test is good? It's not like a one test. Sometimes we have to take 10 tests, as many tests as we could, just to making sure that whatever we are committing to platform is good. So yeah, that's the most busiest day always been. That's how I think as a producer, you have to make a lot of decision on the spot. You have to be on top of your things to know what you have to how your day is going to be. It's you should already map it out a day before, at least. You should know. You should know what time you want to go and ask people. You should know what they're working on, because it's very easy to get distracted with the other things that might come up on the day, and or maybe during the testing and all that. So you need to really hands-on, or really be part of that process to know how the flow of the game going on that day of submissions. Yeah. It's always like that. It's always there's I don't know, people will be nervous when they start playing. They're she gonna find something. And it happened almost all the time, and it's always at the bad timing. So sorry to the dev. So, but it's good for the game, I guess. Like that's why it's important that different players have a different types of behavior on how to play. It's nothing to be like, we're not blaming anyone to not find anything, or like, oh, just because I found something. But it's more like a user behavior, player perspective is completely different for each person. And this is where, like, your producer role needs to kick in, and what you actually choosing to solve. For all the fans and for all the people that show love for Upin Ipin, you guys won't be disappointed. You will love as how the game comes along, and of course, we need all your support to for the play the game, experience the game. Let us know what you think. And also, as a Malaysian, I feel like very happy to be part of this great breakthrough for the animations and also the game industry itself. And yeah, and enjoy, have fun. Yeah, be the Upin Ipin that you want to be. Yeah, thank you.